Senator Toomey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Rosen, as you know, when FIRMA was passed, it dramatically expanded the scope of transactions that would be subject to CFIUS review. And CFIUS seems to have stepped up and significantly increased the volume of transaction that it has looked at, evaluated, many under the declaration process, which is the faster process of getting to an approval. But certainly, CFIUS has its hands full with this volume of transactions. I am concerned that we should not, certainly anytime soon, add to the burden or create distractions or meddle with CFIUS's core mission, because it's a big job and it's a very important job. I guess I'd like to get your perspective on how you think about the specific national security threats that arise from China in particular when it comes to acquiring American technology. So briefly, your assessment of the nature of this threat, how serious is it, and how do you view how CFIUS is currently managing that?
Senator, thank you for that question and for raising this critical issue. The threat from China, frankly, is significant. It's a strategic economic competitor. It's engaged in conduct that is adversarial against our national security interests. They're engaged in acts of stealing intellectual property, technology, and the like. You cited the intel assessment. It's a threat that I think we need to be very, very focused on, Senator, and it's one that I take very seriously. In terms of how the committee would approach that threat, frankly, Senator, I think you and others in FIRMA provided significant tools to examine and go after that threat, and they're tools that I would intend to use. For example, the non-notified transaction process, very important. Monitoring and compliance issues, very important. The jurisdictional issue of being able to look at transactions intended to evade CFIUS jurisdiction, very important, because I think we need to be focused on the threat in front of us, but also the threat of tomorrow.
So in my opening remarks, I mentioned how important inbound FDI is to the American economy. Yeah, I assume you agree that that is an important asset for our economy.
Yes, Senator.
So my question is, given the importance of FDI and given that CFIUS can review and intervene and even block FDI, how do you both safeguard critical U.S. technology but at the same time avoid becoming a cumbersome obstacle to legitimate FDI? And sort of a related question, how do you make sure that CFIUS does not become a tool for just protectionism?
Senator, thank you for raising that and for the question. On the first, it is a balance. We need to make sure, and if confirmed, I would engage in this, make sure that we are efficiently and effectively moving transactions. Moving benign investment through the process is a very important piece of the CFIUS review. Predictability and certainty in the business community, very important, all while focusing on national security, are things that I think the balance needs to be struck. You've raised those two pieces. I think moving forward from a CFIUS operational perspective, I think those are the things that, if confirmed, I would be looking to work with this committee on in striking that balance.
Thank you. Ms. Gibson, as I mentioned in my opening statement, the Mint needs to continue to innovate and to release new products that resonate with the public. That includes collectibles. Two examples I want to ask you about: the Morgan & Peace silver dollars. My understanding is that in 2021, the Mint released popular new versions of each of these coins, and they sold out within minutes. But in 2022, I understand the lack of availability of silver has caused a suspension of the production of these coins. I've been approached by stakeholders who are very concerned that if we skip a year's production, 2022, and wait until 2023 to resume production, that that'll have an adverse negative impact on the attractiveness of this series, the value of these coins. So I'm wondering, is it possible to actually produce these coins in 2022 rather than just waiting until 2023?
Thank you, sir, for the question. The Morgan & Peace program was highly popular. As you mentioned, it sold out in minutes. And we also received a number of complaints from customers that were not able to obtain the Morgan and Peace. For 2022, we thought about how can we go about ensuring that we will have enough coinage, Morgan and Peace specifically, for the customers, especially since we sold out in 2021 and could not meet that customer demand. I pulled together a team of experts from manufacturing, sales and marketing, legal, and the chief fiscal officer to make sure that going forward we could produce the Morgan and Peace in 2022, given the fact that we have to also balance our silver supply chain with our bullion program, which is congressionally mandated. Thus, we made the decision that we would bypass 2022 and in 2023 make the Morgan and Peace coin, and that way make enough sufficient to satisfy customer demand.
So my time is out, but I just, my understanding is it would be possible to make some coins in 2022, probably not sufficient to meet the full demand, but a number of constituents have suggested that it's better to at least meet some demand and have the continuity of production rather than wait till 2023 when, yeah, maybe you'd be able to meet the full demand then. So I would just ask you respectfully to consider that possibility.
Thank you, sir, and I surely will.
Thanks, Senator Toomey.